we interrupt our normal programming in order to bring you this special report from NBC News. Here is Bill Ryan.
Good evening. Astronauts Virgil Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee have been killed in a flash fire during a rehearsal of the countdown and launch of the Apollo flight they were to have made on the 21st of next month. The accident occurred at Cape Kennedy. Here is a report of the event from NASA Public Affairs Officer Jay Vayman at Cape Kennedy, Florida.
Astronauts Virgil I. Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee were killed tonight in a flash fire during the test of Apollo Saturn 204 vehicle at Cape Kennedy Air Force Station. The fire occurred while the astronauts were in the spacecraft during the countdown of a simulated flight test. The accident occurred at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time at 10 minutes prior to the planned simulated liftoff. The spacecraft is located 218 feet above the launch pad and was mated to the upgraded Saturn 1B vehicle. Latches on the spacecraft were closed. Emergency crews encountered jet smoke in removing the hatches. 20 launch crew members were treated for smoke inhalation at the Cape Kennedy dispensary. The crew entered the spacecraft at 3 p.m. Minor difficulties have been encountered during the count with the environmental control and communication system. All data has been impounded pending investigation.
That was NASA Public Affairs Officer Jay Vayman reporting from Cape Kennedy on the flash fire which this evening took the lives of astronauts Virgil Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee. Grissom, 40 years old, was an Air Force lieutenant colonel. He's in the center here. He had made 2 space flights, one suborbital in the Mercury program. He suffered a narrow escape at the end of that flight when his Mercury spacecraft sank. He also flew in orbit in one of the 2-man Gemini flights. Edward White, 36 years old on the left, was also an Air Force colonel. He flew a 2-man mission with James McDivitt. White was the first United States astronaut to venture into space, leaving his spacecraft for more than 20 minutes for what has been called a spacewalk, from which his fellow astronaut McDivitt had to coax him to return. Chaffee, 31, the 3rd man in the Apollo 204 crew, was a Navy lieutenant commander. He had not yet taken part in a space flight. The 3 men this afternoon entered their Apollo spacecraft at approximately 3 o'clock for a full-scale rehearsal of the countdown and launch of their February flight. The simulated countdown was 10 minutes from the time of launch when the flash fire hit the spacecraft. Its hatches were closed.